Hi, I'll set this recording in motion with the two established names in the world of Tantra. First is Sir John Woodroffe or Arthur Avalon, and second is Sri Rajarshri Nandy ji. This one is a newly launched book. It's called The Truth About Tantra, which has realistically included sadhana, shakti, and structure in its core elements. And second one is the Introduction to Tantra Shastra, and it is written by Sir John Woodroffe. Why am I showing this book to you? Because it does have the parallel references in the first book that I have shown you. Basically, I'm going to talk about this first book in little bit detail. Okay. The very first question comes here is that why am I making a video on such an exotic genre of literature? The truthful explanation of this would be that I found myself extremely immersing and entwined with this powerful subject. And I realized that this subject has been misinterpreted widely in local as well as global contexts. Both of these books are of the same intention, are of the same attempt to basically remove the tarnish around the name of Tantra. Since not everybody has this tendency of putting their noses in the books instantly, I thought I'll provide you with the gist and give you its intended meaning in detail. Okay, so the mention of Sir John Woodroffe comes on page number 7, where Nandiji talked about how he was a Chief Justice of the Calcutta High Court and major part of the system of British Indian judiciary. Alongside, he was a significant British Orientalist who developed a prolonged interest in the studies of Tantra after an encounter with a life experience where he was supposed to pass a verdict on somebody, but whenever he sat on his desk and tried to write the judgment against this person, he found himself completely in the state of brain fog, and his ability to think faded instantly. And then later his clerk theorized that one of the parties on this case has hired a tantric practitioner to influence or manipulate the judge's decision. Not only that, but he was initiated into the procedure of Tantra Vidya and got a higher order initiation called Purna Abhishek. So Nandiji is consistently pointing out to this fallacy that people observe Tantra as something that is dark, sexually oriented, and is surrounded with the concept of black magic only. Well, it's not true, of course. In fact, Tantra should be viewed as a lifestyle. Basically, something that brings us closer to the cosmos, to the divine, and to the self with a much faster speed than any other practice present in this world. For instance, the example I'm going to take an example of Panchabhuta that you do in your daily pujas. If you offer kumkum or bhog or water to your devta or to your god, is actually a live example of the blend of tantric and Vedic practices that you are doing in your daily routine. Tantra is much more like a purification process of these energy centers, and when it completes its cycle from bottom to top approach, it is believed to be said as Kundalini Jagran or Kundalini awakening. Now Tantra Shaivism and the land of Kashmir go hand in hand, as I told you before, meaning we can't separate one from another. The streams that flows out from it is one is Ati Marga and second is Mantra Marga. So Ati Marg is when you abandon this whole world consciously and take sannyas. Okay. And Mantra Marg is the path of mantras, and it is certainly dedicated to grihasthas or householders. So basically, when you chant a mantra, in Tantra we say that mantra is your God only. So whenever you are chanting a particular mantra and you recite it to a certain extent, to a certain amount, it manifests as real God, as real deity. So in mantra mark, you don't have to abandon anything. You are a householder, and you can do both. You can manage your materialistic and spiritual world parallelly. So it also talks about non-dual realization. So by non-dual realization, I mean that there is one consciousness, there is one cosmic divine that we all are part of. And I'll give you a small instance that why Tantra path does not separate a householder from his or her material pursuits. So, for example, if you are making money, I had posted a video on Shakti as well, and I remember that I talked about a statement that we cannot move forward an inch without Shakti. So, if you are a businessman, you are making a lot of money, you are seeing a lot of success in your life. If you are an intellectual, you are teaching in a university, if you are a teacher, whatever it is, whatever you are able to do these things because you are blessed by these gods and goddesses. No, so for particularly for speech, we say that we should get the blessings of Matangi Ma, who is the goddess of speech and communication. For wealth, of course, on Diwali, on the occasion of Diwali, we worship goddess Lakshmi. And for accumulation as well. For prosperity, we offer our puja to different kinds of deities. So it could be Ganpati ji, it could be Lord Krishna, it could be Shiv Parvati in their whole essence. So basically, whatever you do in your life, the concept is that you don't do anything alone. Everything is predestined, and you get this energy, you get this free will out of his wish only, or her wish. So basically, it's the amalgamation of male and female counterparts, Shiv and Shakti. In this book, the author keeps talking about his real life encounters with godlike entities, and he also described about his different gurus at different stages of upasana, and how it is very important to recognize or acknowledge the lineage of guru that you are getting diksha from, and how you have to walk slowly on this path very carefully, because of course there are multitude of fraudsters available these days. And he also describes in a very vivid manner that doing sadhana or upasana is not merely uh, a fantasy. It is not something that you should fantasize about, but and you should also not treat it in a superficial manner, because if you do that, it might end up in a very destructing or damaging manner. So the historical context, next I'm going to talk about the historical context that he has provided. So I'm going to read out a little bit out of from the book, but it's not exactly the book's words. My words are intermixed with it. So he described the historical development of Tantra in the texts and practices of Shaivism and its related structure in the Kola systems. So whole of our Tantra texts, not whole, but the major chunk of the Tantra text are coming from Kashmir. That is the unique insight. And basically, it's my duty to tell you that whatever the Upasana instructions are written on these texts are coming from the 5 faces of Shiva. So, first is Sadhya Jot, second is Vamadev, third is Tat Purush, fourth is Aghora, and fifth is Ishana. So, like it is similar to Bhagavad Gita, right? So, we consider, and for truly for people who are truly inclined with the divine and inclined completely towards the divine, I don't think that there is any doubt or rationale around this thing that Bhagavad Gita is said by Lord Krishna only. In that same way, it is said that these Tantra texts are coming directly from the verses from the mouth of Shiva. So, from all of the above, Vamachara has been the most controversial practice amongst the approaches of Tantra. So, इसको आप ऐसे समझें, बिकॉज बड़ी अनकन्वेंशनल प्रैक्टिसेस होती हैं वो डिवाइन कॉन्शियसनेस को अटेन करने के लिए, तो उसको काफ़ी कंट्रोवर्सी में रखा जाता है. तो जैसे कॉन्सेप्ट ये है कि चाहे कुछ नेगेटिव है चाहे कुछ पॉजिटिव है, नेगेटिव कोई भी नेगेटिव एंटिटी, कोई भी नेगेटिव विचार, कोई भी नेगेटिव इंसान, कुछ भी है आपकी लाइफ में, आपके लाइफ के बाहर, वो सब एक सेम सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी से आ रहा है. डिफरेंस ये है कि क्योंकि हमें उस चीज़ का कॉम्प्रिहेंशन नहीं है, वी कांट कॉम्प्रिहेंड इट कम्प्लीटली, सो वी बेसिकली रिजेक्टेड. सो जब भी आप शिव उपासना की बात करते हैं तो वी से दैट ही एक्सेप्ट्स ऑल. ये एक्सेप्ट्स ऑल मीन्स देवों को भी एक्सेप्ट करते हैं, इंसानों को भी एक्सेप्ट करते हैं और डीमंस को भी एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. सो एवरीथिंग इज कमिंग फ्रॉम हिम ओनली, फ्रॉम दैट वन. सो बेसिकली थोड़ा सा कंट्रोवर्शियल है क्योंकि इसकी जो प्रैक्टिसेस हैं वो इन्वॉल्व करती हैं मीट, अल्कोहल और सेक्स जैसी चीज़ें, जो कि ऑफ कोर्स एक सोशल टैबू है. हालांकि सब लोग पीछे से करते हैं, सोशल टैबू है. यही सोशल टैबू जिससे कि डाउनफॉल होता है, हर एक वो सब्सटेंस जिससे डाउनफॉल होता है वो आप ऑफर करते हो अपने डेटी को. बेसिकली आप अपनी सारी नेगेटिविटी, आप अपने सारे डाउनफॉल के जो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं वो सारे डेडिकेट करते हो अपनी डेटी को. और इसको थोड़ा सा विशेष बनाकर प्रेजेंट किया गया है दुनिया में, उसको एक नैरेटिव बनाया गया है ना. सो बेसिकली जब भी कोई ऐसा नैरेटिव बनता है उसका एक पीछे एक मोटिव या एक प्रिटेंशन समझ लीजिए ऐसा होता है कि किसी कल्चर पर अटैक है ना. इफ वी आर टेलिंग आर folk tales and we are trying our people to gather and promote similar kind of tendencies in terms of spirituality, we are basically talking about the union of one, right? तो उसको कई बार लोग नेग्लेक्ट करते हैं और उसको रिमूव करने की कोशिश भी करते हैं. सो वामाचारा वाज वन ऑफ द प्रैक्टिस जो कि इस वजह से कंट्रोवर्सी. अच्छा, फिर एक और चीज़ की नंदी जी ने बात की है जिसे कि हम प्रयोग कहते हैं या एप्लीकेशंस कहते हैं, जिनसे सबसे ज़्यादा लोग डरते हैं, है ना, जिसको ब्लैक मैजिक का रूप दिया गया है. सो इन एप्लीकेशंस को प्रोजेक्ट किया गया था किसी स्पेसिफिक एम को अचीव करने के लिए, है ना. और ये बेसिकली 6 फॉर्म्स में क्लासिफाइड हैं. तो फॉर्म्स ऐसी हैं कि पहला हो गया शांति, सेकंड सम्मोहन, थर्ड वशीकरण, फोर्थ उच्चाटन, थर्ड विद्वेष्टव एंड फोर्थ इज मारण. सो जब इसको सबको कंपाइल कर देते हैं तो इट कॉल सत्कर्म्स, है ना. तो बेसिकली वट एवर एप्लीकेशंस अ साधका माइट प्रोजेक्ट टूवर्ड समवन will get its results instantly, whether good or bad, depending upon the intentions of that person who had activated these applications. So the idea here is that the way you treat Shakti na, it treat you the same way back. तो आप अपनी शक्ति का ठीक से इस्तेमाल करें और अच्छी विद्याओं को एक गलत मोड़ ना दें, है ना. और ये जो बुक है बेसिकली एक यही अटेम्प्ट कर रही है कि जो भी डिस्ट्रक्शन हुआ है अराउंड द नेम ऑफ तंत्रा उसको थोड़ा साफ कर सके. और जो सबसे एंड चैप्टर है वो एज ऑफ तंत्रा की बात करता है, जो कि हमारी एज है, दैट इज कलयुग, जिसमें हम रह रहे हैं. कि शिव ने अपने टेक्स्ट में कहा है कि कलयुग विल बी द एज वेयर तंत्रा वुड बी प्रैक्टिस्ड इमेंसली. एंड इस धरती को इस समय स्पिरिचुअलिटी की बहुत ज़रूरत भी है, क्योंकि पिछले हम कुछ वर्षों से जो वक्त देख रहे हैं, आगे हो सकता है कुछ 5, 7, 10 सालों में वक्त ऐसा ही रहे, और ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि बहुत बुरा भी रहे. तो बेसिकली टू प्रोटेक्ट दिस लैंड हमारे वेदों, पुराणों में और उपनिषदों में ऐसा बहुत कुछ लिखा है जो कि थ्रू द विजन ऑफ सेंट्स आया करता था, और वो सही ही होता था। और वन ऑफ द प्रिडिक्शंस अकॉर्डिंग टू द वर्ड्स ऑफ शिवा यही है कि ये एज, कलयुग की एज डार्क है, और इसमें डार्क प्रैक्टिस करते हुए, डार्क सब्सटेंसेस का यूज़ करते हुए आप एक बहुत सुंदर डिवाइन कॉन्शियसनेस तक पहुंच सकते हैं।